For the low, low price of $5 American, this thing could be yours. It is an industrial pillow roller. It rolls pillows. But it's not just any industrial pillow roller. It's a MyPillow pillow roller from the MyPillow Pillow Factory. MyPillow is auctioning off more than 850 pieces of equipment, from sewing machines to forklifts. The company is even subletting part of its manufacturing space. Why? Because MyPillow is not everyone's pillow, or even a lot of people's pillow, or so it seems. After January 6th, big box stores like Bed Bath & Beyond and Kohl's stopped selling MyPillow products. And then last year, MyPillow's biggest distributor, Walmart dropped MyPillow too. It turns out that having a CEO who is both the face of your brand and the face of conspiratorial election denialism is bad for business. MyPillow CEO Mike Lindell says that after those retailers dropped MyPillow, the company's annual sales fell by $100 million. And that's just sales. Don't forget that Mike Lindell's lies about the 2020 election mean that he and the company MyPillow itself are facing a $1.3 billion, with a B, billion-dollar defamation lawsuit from the voting machine company that Mike Lindell lied so much about. Now, as much as Mr. Lindell is getting his comeuppance here, no group is perhaps feeling the hurt from its own 2020 election lies quite as much as the Republican Party. In 2018, 54% of Republicans said they were confident that votes in elections would be counted accurately. New polling shows that now only 22% of Republicans have confidence that votes will be counted accurately. 22%. By contrast, Democrats have become more confident about elections in that time. Between 2018 and now, of course, the de facto leader of the Republican Party, Donald Trump, has pushed the big lie that the 2020 election was stolen. In particular, Trump repeatedly demonized mail-in ballots as a source of fraud. But Trump did not do this all single-handedly. Do you remember Virginia Republican Glenn Youngkin's race for governor in 2021? Mr. Youngkin had to walk a fine line on election fraud. He didn't endorse conspiracy theories, but he also didn't debunk them. He was unwilling to say whether Joe Biden had been fairly elected until after he won his primary. Youngkin couldn't risk alienating the huge chunk of the Republican electorate that still believes American elections are rigged. But it turns out that having an electorate that doesn't believe that voting works is a bad thing. This week, Governor Youngkin launched a new messaging campaign attempting to convince Republicans that early voting and mail-in voting actually might not be the end of democracy after all. Governor Youngkin is not the only Republican now in this position. In a big new national push this year, the RNC is desperately trying to get Republicans to bank their vote, which is shorthand for vote early or by mail. Even the election-denying Arizona gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake, who to this day has not conceded the 2022 election, even she has realized that telling people voting isn't secure is not the best way to win votes. So Kari Lake has launched what she calls the largest ballot-chasing operation in American history, which, you guessed it, means helping people cast their ballots early or by mail. Republicans casting doubt on voting itself is one of the biggest self-inflicted wounds in the history of our democracy. It is unclear how the party is going to clean up this mess, but if they need an industrial floor scrubber, I know a guy.